The greatest physiques that have walked this planet Earth are the leanest, most shredded body composition physiques. High muscle to body fat ratio. And if you watch to the end, you will literally fast forward time to get there immediately in 2026. These physiques are physiques like Brad Pitt in Fight Club, physiques like Christian Bale in American Psycho, physiques like Wolverine in the X-Men, physiques like all of the movies in regarding to Spartan warfare and Rome warfare, etc. These physiques scream capability. They scream the ability to get shit done, subconsciously, consciously, whatever you want to call it. And that's just the reality. How to actually get to this physique. Number one, deficit. A lot of people go wrong because you think you need to go guns at the wall. You think you need to go 100 miles per hour, a bullet train. You don't. That's not how fat loss is actually meant to work. If you've given yourself a very short window, I'm sorry, you're probably not the person that is even close to 15% body fat to even do an aggressive cut to get the results you're looking for. The time frame, it's not happening. But what you can do is you can look better. You can gradually increase your ability to look better and get closer to your goal, which is being lean and reaching your best physique, right? Reaching the Fight Club physique, reaching the aesthetic apex physique, or like I call it, the aesthetic hunter-gatherer apex physique. So with a deficit, you have to bear in mind 1,000 is too much, 1,500 is too much, 800, 900, it's too much. It's too aggressive. If your maintenance you found is around 3,000 calories, then there's no way your deficit should be below 1.8 thousand. It shouldn't be below 1.9, realistically, not even 2,000 on a good day. So 500 calorie deficit. And what this means is that you can eat a little bit more, but then you can also be flexible with your expenditure, and we'll sort of go into that later. But the deficit is important to nail down. What are the current things you can do to make sure that your deficit is nailed on every single day? So we need, honestly, if you want to fast track this, you need to weigh what you're eating. At least for a couple of days, get out the food scale and start weighing how much calories you're consuming on a daily basis. Because then we can find out the average, and then we can actually do a correct deficit. Because if you can put the food on the food scale, if you've got the mentality to do that, then what you'll find is the exact calories you need for your body to stay the same. It's going to take trial and error. You'll need a weighing scale as well. But once you've figured that out, it's just a trial and error. You can go on any Google calculator, TTDE calculator, and that's going to give you a rough estimate of basically your maintenance calories. Obviously, it's not going to be right because it's not your exact body. It's just an AI calculator, whatever it does. And once that gives you your maintenance calories, you want to just basically eat within that maintenance for a couple of days. Try it out for at least 7 days, just so you can get the average from that week. And you'll find that if I've gained weight a little bit more, then, it's like, that's a surplus. If you haven't and you've been going down, quite a bit, then that's obviously a deficit, right? And you can kind of figure out where you are in between that until, you know, you calculate the average for the week and it's pretty bang on the same. Cool. That's deficits. Calories. So calories in versus calories out is completely wrong. Honestly, you need to stop doing it immediately. Just because you can fit in a Magnum, a chocolate bar in your calories doesn't mean it's going to help you with fat loss. It's not going to help you with your body composition because truthfully, those foods are highly ultra processed, which also means that it does its very best job to knock you off track. It's got so much chemical compounding created by food scientists in a lab that specialize in getting you eating more, or else there wouldn't be any money for big pharma, there wouldn't be any money for the food industry. Isn't that crazy? The food industry and big pharma are working hand in hand together to low-key make you ill so they can charge you more. And they can also get you paying more for their food. It's actually just complete hypocrisy. That's why you have to completely avoid this shit immediately, guys. It's actually not even a joke at this point. Whole foods, single ingredient foods, you have your potatoes, you have your oats, you have your meat, so that could be fish, chicken breast, chicken thighs, etc., etc. And obviously you got your fruits, berries, Greek style yogurt. Obviously that's a little bit more on like the ingredient side of things, but that's fine because it's 0%. But moving sort of into calories and outside of it as well is stress. The amount of stress that you put on your body when you're eating these foods is a lot. And what you'll find is that it works in a weird like cycle of you're stressed out from work, so you eat ultra processed foods, that makes you feel shit, and the cycle continues. Whereas if you just put in whole foods in there, immediately the cycle is destroyed because it's like whole foods, feel better about work, whole foods again, and the cycle just repeats. So that's a little thing that people don't necessarily see that's happening literally in real time. And that's going to help with your cortisol. So cortisol is just a hormone that spikes whenever you're stressed, so we want to make sure that's as low as possible, guys. So whatever you can do to just make sure you're not stressed, fucking do that. And that does not mean eat ultra processed food, because like I said, the cycle will repeat. Training, you need to be doing compound movements. So these are basically movements that are going to require more than one muscle group. Isolation movements are okay, but if we're talking about building an actual physique that stands out and is efficient, so you spend less time in the gym and you build as much muscle as possible, compound movements are your absolute bread and butter. Get extremely strong in compound movements. So that's like military shoulder press. So when you're standing, not sitting down, because with dumbbell shoulder press, a lot of people have gotten injuries from that because having to yank the weight to a position where you can actually do it is quite stressful on your joints. So don't fucking do that. Another thing is incline Smith machine for your upper chest. The thing about training chest is a lot of people realize if you do flat bench, you're not necessarily giving yourself the option for a shelf look, essentially making your chest look bigger enclosed. Lean or not lean, it doesn't matter. That is super important for 3D width of your chest. And a couple of things, so if we're talking about arms as well, we want to do barbell curls. So not with like a shorter barbell. We want the wide barbell that we use for compound movements. So for like the military shoulder press, those wide barbells, that's what you need to start using for biceps. The stronger you can get at that, the better. If you can get up to the point where your barbell curling, your bicep curling with the barbells, 60 kg, then you will have big biceps. So yeah. Back as well, gets very strong on weighted pull-ups. So with a weighted belt, obviously if you can't do that, use the assisted machine, or if you can't do that or your gym doesn't have that, just buy resistance bands and gradually get stronger. So you want to do negatives. So when you lift yourself up onto the pull-up bar, slowly hold yourself going down and hold that for as long as possible. And that's negatives. So what you'll find is eventually you'll be able to actually hold it for long, and then you can just start doing pull-ups, and you can progress from the resistance band to doing 4 pull-ups. That's the training arc done. And then energy expenditure. So your energy expenditure needs to be meticulous and very intentional. So when you're building muscle, guys, there's something called your resting metabolic rate. So basically your body has to burn calories at rest. So you weigh a specific amount, has to burn those calories as energy naturally. And because it does that, so it basically just gets that from just working, right? It's actively pumping blood throughout your body. Yada, obviously that's gonna take calories. So think of your body like a machine. And with this expenditure, you can sort of alter it throughout the week. So how I want you to do this essentially is on the days where you're not in the gym, I want you to do 10K steps and just literally try and move a little bit more. Try aim for just walking a little bit more in breaks, after breaks, etc., etc. You can also do that in weight training days. Obviously at the start, sustainably, you can do it on non-weight training days, and then you can sort of progress that to every single day, just so that's obviously easy for yourself. So you can do morning walks, and obviously that's great for your circadian rhythm, so it's going to actually make sure that you're not stressed as well, which is good, and your body clock just resets as well. So this is the bulletproof strategy. All of the garbage that you see online is literally geared to just take your money. You need to be efficient in actually taking action and applying that and see how you do, because at that point you can actually do trial and error properly. Where people go wrong is they don't know how to trial and error, because they're moving from one thing to one thing to one thing and they're not seeing results. So it almost becomes like impossible to navigate that. So that is the bulletproof plan. If you like this video, guys, obviously hit the like button, give me some comments just so I can help you guys out, and yeah, peace.